Roberto Monaco here with Influenceology and the Car Speaking Company. And in this video here, we are going to be talking about the 10 benefits of using your personal story if you're doing an outside talk, an internal lecture, a webinar, if you're recording videos, if you're selling programs. Why it's so important for us to use a personal story to be able to influence your audience ethically, right? It's super powerful. Now, I wanna share two quick stories that happened to me years ago. This gentleman, he was in insurance compliance business, calls me up and say, "Hey man, I need your help. I'm doing these talks and I'm experiencing CSS disease." I'm like, "What is CSS disease?" He goes, "I can't sell shit." By the way, I don't like to use that language in my videos, but it's part of the story. All right. So he sent me his webinar, and I remember watching his webinar, the most boring webinar. I have 12,000 hours of presentation review. So I had like 2 cups of coffee reviewing this webinar, and I'm like, it was an hour. I couldn't pass through the 1 hour. So tough. Obviously, he hired me, so I did anyway. And then he came down to San Diego. I was living in San Diego back in the day. And I said, "We're going to do 3 things today. 8 hours. Number one, I'm going to cut your presentation in half. You're going to eliminate half of your information." He went crazy, like, "What? You crazy, bro?" Like, no. You're going to cut half of the content. You're going to remove half. Then he said, "What are you going to do with the other half?" "Well, we're going to add stories and analogies, right?" And then so that cut the content in half, add stories and analogies. The third thing you're going to do, I redid his clothes. Anyway, he left after this 8-hour immersion and then did a presentation on the first talk, like an hour talk. He closed $40,000 into services, right? Which is amazing. Now, second quick story here to illustrate the power of storytelling. I had one of my clients, another person, I'm not mentioning his name here for no disclosure agreements. Right? He run for political. He's very high level of political organizations, and he was trying to become a president. And then years ago, and he part of the process to become a president, they have an opportunity, each candidate, to do a 7-minute talk. And I'm always like, okay, what is this? What is the story behind your speech, right? What's the story behind why they should vote for you? And most of the speeches, they're boring. It's like people, they want to be a president and they talk about facts and what they're going to do, but they never connect the story. So anyway, you found a really powerful story, and boom, he became the president of this political organization. And last week alone, another client running for another political organization, we worked for 3 months on his 5-minute talk. And then he got elected. So, and part of it, when I help my clients design stocks, is to find that story that helps frames, helps connect, helps influence the audience. So let's talk specifically here, the 10 reasons. Okay, this is important. Now, regardless if you're doing a doctor's report, if you're doing outside talk, a webinar, if you're selling a course, if you have a 5-minute pitch, you gotta have a personal story. And I want to show you 10 reasons that I use, recommend my clients to use. If you have any questions, if you're watching here, say hi in the comments here. Number one, pre-frames your message. He or she who sets the frame wins the game, right? So we all know that. Another way to see this or pre-frame your message could be like, hey, a powerful story in the beginning of a presentation can create the context for your message, the context of why you're there speaking. I can pre-frame the whole message with one story. Number two, okay, and I learned this back 10 years ago when I started studying storytelling, maybe more, the concept of identification. I didn't develop the concept, but identification happens when you tell a story, either to one person or to a group of people, and the audience of one or the audience of many can identify himself or herself with the audience. And when you create this identification, this connection, right? It's like, oh, this is just like myself. This is just like my wife. This is just like my son. Then what happens is that you build up this really powerful connection. And sometimes I've seen so many presenters, chiropractors, doctors, influencers, experts not being able to create this identification, the audience, and they just quote unquote vomit information because they don't have a powerful story that creates identification, the feeling of connection, the feeling like, oh, I can identify myself with that character. Just like sometimes when you go to a movie or watch, nobody goes to a movie anymore. When you watch a Netflix and you start crying because you identify yourself or with the character of that story, right? Super powerful. Number 3, which is a big benefit personally why I tell stories, it associates the speaker with the message. Now, if you have a presentation that you do over and over and over again, sometimes presenters have a tendency to be like, it's not very important anymore. Or you go through the slides or you go through the presentation, but you don't have the power, the force, not being forceful, the force, the power, the passion, the emotion behind your message. All right? And sometimes, and by the way, I done 4,500 talks, so I know the feeling of like not wanting to speak or not wanting to record. I've done that before. Or being sick and have to deliver a talk. I recently did a 3-day event, 30-hour event online, and I came down with COVID the day before. On Thursday, my event was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I know what feels like being sick and have to step up and deliver. So part of like finding the extra will, the extra power, the extra motivation is the association that the speaker, the presenter has with the message, right? So when you tell your personal story, not someone else's story, then you bring back those emotions. It's super powerful. We have some comments here. Hey, Dr. Kelly, thank you so much. I saw you recording a video the other day and you had people making noise in the background. I totally get that. Right? So very important. I create association. Number 4 here, helps overcome resistance. When you create that sense of connection with the audience, of identification, it's harder for your audience to resist your message, to object. You see, people can counter-argue facts. They cannot counter-argue personal experiences. It's just hard. All right? Please write it down. People can counter-argue facts. People cannot counter-argue your personal experience, or at least it's harder, right, to counter-argue your personal experience. That's why I always aim towards the beginning of my presentation, to develop, to tell a personal story, right? Numero 5, benefit number 5. A really powerful story brands you. So many times in my career, when I was working for Tony Robbins, years later, I met the people that did a workshop in a company or something. They go, oh, you're the guy who came from Brazil, couldn't speak the English, right? And now I've been around chiropractors for long. Oh, I remember how chiropractor changed the life of Sophia. Yeah, your wife's story, right? They remember. So I can go and do a 4-hour talk, an 8-hour class, or a 3-day class. And one of the things they remember is my personal story as chiropractor. By the way, if you're watching us and you're not a chiropractor, go find a chiropractor, because chiropractic, it will change your life. But the idea is that what people remember most is that story, which is super powerful. Yeah. So because you see, I always tell this to our clients, people can quote unquote try to steal your idea or the layout of your office or your marketing, but it's really hard to copy your story, right? So I always tell my clients, you gotta lead with your story. And one point I wanna make here, storytelling or business storytelling is not a public speaking thing at all. Business storytelling is a communication thing, which means that you can put in your website, you can write emails, write copy. You can apply business storytelling in so many different ways. Number 6, okay, induces the law of readiness. In the beginning of a presentation, you should aim to tell a story because you put your audience in the state of readiness, the state of like, oh, I'm ready to learn. And I think it's so critical to some people like to say you got to give the why before you teach the what and the how, which is powerful, right? But a very powerful emotional story, you actually create that state of readiness. There's actually a psychological law that people who are more motivated to learn, they are quote unquote ready to learn, they're going to take more information. And that is the power of telling a story towards the beginning of your presentation, of your webinar, of your talk. Now, I'm not saying By the way, there's different techniques of opening up a presentation or webinar. You could open up the story, but I'm talking more about after you open up within, I don't know, 3 to 4 minutes, you get into a personal story. Because if it is powerful enough, it will help you create that state of readiness. So people are like, okay, they go from here to be like, okay, tell me, I'm ready. Let's go. Right? And that's what I'm talking about. Number 7, the 7th benefit, increases the value of your message. There's a super cool study then. It's called Significant Objects, and you can type significant objects online. There's a whole website done where communication scientists, psychologists, they try to figure out if you get like an object and you attach a story to it, if that object, the price, the monetary value of the object would increase, still the same would decrease. Super fun, super powerful. And they did, the experiment was that they got all these objects for $1.50. They hired these professional copywriters and they put on eBay, and there's an object, they pay, let's say, 50 cents. And there's a story describing the object. And then the object end up selling for, I don't know, 10 times, 20 times, 30 times the value. And I have in my desk here a fake banana. It's kind of funny, but I carry a fake banana because one of the objects was a fake banana that the scientists bought for 25 cents on the market and sold for $49 on eBay. Right? Now, obviously, when people bought the object, they were notified they're being part of a psychological study, and then they could refund the transaction, all that jazz. But the idea is that we know that stories can add value to your message, to your product, to your service. Right? That's why I literally have, this is not a real banana. This is a fake banana that I have on my desk to remind me, hey, tell a story, tell the story, tell the story. If I'm doing a Zoom one-on-one meeting, tell the story. If I'm doing a live video today, and I'm like, okay, what's the story I'm going to use to help me frame this message? If I'm doing a webinar, or if we're doing our 3-day class, which is, by the way, it's coming up May 14th to the 16th. There's a link below here. Learn, it's going to be amazing, amazing, amazing. Right? We go super deep in storytelling. Number 8. Induces social proof from Dr. Robert Cialdini. When you see other people doing it or achieving the result, we believe that you can do also, right? That's summarizing social proof. So basically, if you see several people achieving a result, I did X, therefore I got the result, most likely people are like, you know what, I can do it. Adds credibility, power to your message. And that's why now social proof, there's different ways you can do it. You can do it through patient stories, client stories. You can do it through your personal story as well. Right? That's not a benefit. Number 9 here, improves audience attention. Storytelling is proven to, when you go into storytelling mode, people they just pay attention to it. And now I have Sophia, she's going to be 4 in August. Phoenix is going to be in 2 in August. So every night, storytelling time. And it's fascinating to see, even during the day when I make up stories, how they go like, huh? Right? So you have this intuitive, they know to pay attention to because something's going to happen. Right? Something's going to happen in the story. And so it's a great way doing your presentations, doing your videos, doing webinars to add a story to it. Super powerful. Because one of the biggest differences, one of the biggest distinctions between traditional public speaking communication 101 through online is that online is just hard to get attention. Right? People are in and out, like they're doing the video here. They're, oh, is Roberto's live? I'm going to spend a couple minutes. Right? Or they are watching the presentation, the webinar, they have another browser open, or they don't turn the camera on. So it's just harder. It's just harder. So being able to grab people's attention, maintain their attention is one of the biggest benefits of storytelling. And number 10 here, increased sense of urgency during the close. Now, I developed a technique called Story Hack. I cannot share here because we don't have time. I'm like 15 minutes already. But basically the idea, I can give you what the overall concept is that if you look at any professional, any chiropractor, any doctor, any functional medicine doctor, what they do in the talks, let's say they start a presentation, they tell the story, And then in the end, there's an offer, obviously. It's amazing, right? And usually, by the way, I'm not giving you advice here if you should discount or not, because I'm not a compliance guy. But I've seen in talks, usually they say, my consultation is $400 today, is because you're here. That would say because you're here is 50, or because you're here is 100, or because you're here is 200, right? Now, if they're gonna do a discount anyway, man, you gotta come up a better reason, right? They heard because you're here today, really? Now, I understand the reason you're doing it, right? Because you're gonna get people to sign up, but the reason you gave is weak. So one of the things that I work with our clients is that if they set it up the story right in the beginning of the story, that's what I call a story hack. You can use that, and then you can bring back that story all the way in the as a reason why they should sign up today. Let's say stories about someone's struggle with their health, for example, and then you can elegantly, as a reason for taking action today of, again, I'm not suggesting to discount your services or products, but if you are doing that, you can bring that story or the character, say, because that person struggled so much in my lifetime, I'll make sure nobody in my town struggles again. All right. By the way, I have a whole strategy that I teach on that, which is awesome. But anyway, 10 reasons. So one of the things that I'm super aware, I have this fake banana here because every video that I do, every live video that I do, every webinar that I do, I want to make sure I add the story. Why? Because a story alone accomplished these 10 benefits plus more. Now, if you're interested in learning to go super deep into your personal story, patient stories, and all the different kinds of stories, join us at our upcoming Influencing from the front for the Virtual Present. It's going to be amazing. It's coming up. There's a link below here. Don't speak to inform, speak to transform. And just for watching, I have a gift for you. Hey, doctor, I really hope you enjoyed this video. And I want to give you a free, did I say free? Yes, a free gift. We have a course called The 10 Beliefs of the Master Presenter. Because you and I both know that every behavior is belief driven. And something that I learned in my career, 18 years doing this, going to 19 years doing this, is that the best communicators, speakers, influencers, they just have different beliefs than the ones who can move an audience into action. So in my career, I collect these most powerful 10 beliefs, and I record a video talking about these beliefs, and also I record another video with the application of the belief. So in this free course, when I give it to you, you're gonna get 20 videos plus an awesome ebook for you to become an even better communicator, influencer. And I hope that you use this information to bring more people to your practice. You can help them, serve them at the highest level possible. All you have to do is to find the link, usually the link below here, and sign up for your free course, okay? Don't speak to inform, speak to transform, and we'll talk soon. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in one of our events. Talk soon. Don't speak to inform, speak to transform. Talk soon.